and gentlemen.
Welcome to the show. It's Movie Wire time. Oh, the Movie Wire. Bring the firing squad. Bill, Justin. Give the finger or laugh or smile. It's time to find out. No more waiting. So here we go. The Sultan of Cinema. The gumshoe of review. Here is Justin Henson. Let's start the show. Let's go.
Welcome to the Movie Wire.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Movie Wire. I'm your host, Justin Henson, and welcome to the show. We've got a big show this week with 3 brand new movie reviews, with 2 playing in theaters and 1 that's a part of our Movie Wire catch-up. This week on the show, last year Anna Farris tripped while texting and accidentally agreed to do another, and every line will be crossed in Scary Movie. 1 dad, 3 kids, 0 clue, which I think is meant for our filmmakers, in The Breadwinner. And finally, part of our Movie Wire catch-up, Make Your Daddy Dead, Real Dead, in Is God Is. We've got a lot to cover this week, so let's jump right in. Ready for my verdict? Let's get into it.
Out of the windows to watch a roar and a burst of flame. The Movie Wire podcast. We need people like me.
The Wire.
And here we go. But wait, there's more. Hang on to your seat, baby. Cause this one's a screamer.
Two friends find themselves caught up in mayhem involving killers, monsters, and supernatural creatures once again in the rebooty of Scary Movie.
Guess who's back?
Shit.
Back again.
My God, he stabbed her! Not her! My pronouns are they, them. He stabbed them!
We back.
There's a serial killer on the loose.
Hello, Tuesday.
I had been preparing for this for years. Hello, Mother. You look like shit. Should we hug? I really want to, but I'm a Republican now, so I'm supposed to be racist.
Oh, girl, I think all white people are racist anyway. Come here.
Okay. Oh.
Hey there. We heard tell of a Halloween party. We're here to drink, play bad music, do some half gay shit.
Why just half gay?
Stop smiling!
Run, bitch, run!
Mom, Santa gave me a severed arm. Be sure to thank him.
What the?
Somebody help! Help!
Bitch, we on break. So you handle yours. I'll be right over here eating my falafel and my pork rinds. Bitch.
Guess who's back?
You know, I wish this movie kept its promises of what we just heard or what we saw in the trailer of something so controversial that attacks everybody, something that pushes the limits, something that offends everybody, where it just ends up a good time. Everybody is welcomed into this comedic environment, but sadly, this movie overpromises and underdelivers. It's been 26 years since the original came out, and I remember me me as an 18-year-old manager of the Regal Alderwood 7. And on opening day, I was putting money in the box office register, getting set up for the day, when a gentleman came up to order an oddly insane amount of tickets for the original Scary Movie. And at this time, nobody expected Scary Movie to be that big. So I was curious and asked this customer if it was for a group party. And with a proud smirk on his face, he said, "No, my daughter is in it." And at that moment, I didn't think anything of it. He's a proud dad wanting to see his daughter in a small role on the big screen. Come later that evening, a big group of people walk in with this short girl walking at the head of the line. And I was walking past a Scary Movie standee for 8 hours a day for a few days now. And it just clicked that walking in was Anna Farris. After they enter the theater, they enter into our biggest theater that was sold out at the time. And it housed about 850 people, roughly. After that, two gentlemen came out asking if I would embarrass her a little bit by announcing her before the movie started. And I had the pleasure to introduce Anna Farris in her hometown theater the night of the release of her big screen debut. And there is a lot more to the story here, but at the end of my shift, I did walk away with a personalized autograph. And as I held to the tradition of this rebooty, I bought a ticket to Scary Movie at the same theater from 26 years ago at the same time. But sadly, no Anna Farris this time around. But reminiscent, the theater again was packed, and a brush of nostalgia from my youth came over me, ready for a good time. But as we kick off the movie with a scene that mocks a mixed match of 2025's drop to Final Destination Bloodlines, the first line of mockery jokes are delivered and met with lukewarm reactions, where just because you are loud on delivery and swear doesn't make it funny. And over the years, viewers and audience members have had enough of loud delivery when it comes to what we see on TV lately, where it's the new norm of loud delivery, loud arguments, and forceful language, where 26 years ago, this would have been a good strategy, but the first bit really didn't work out. But that's okay. It's only 10 minutes in. But as we get to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or the 60-minute mark, it seems the only laugh comes from anything other than written dialogue, where we are channeling our inner immaturity from the early 2000s comedy of laughing at dildos, butt plugs, and jokes that have already been used before. We also do get a couple of genuine chuckles from self-identifying failures, especially from Anna Farris and the Wayans Brothers movies, such as a House Bunny or a White Chicks cameo. And you know, what was so special about the first Scary Movie is that it felt fresh, it felt funny and edgy, where it really did push the envelope on topics using a horror spoof, such as sex, being closeted, fire hose cum shots, all while making fun of the horror genre. Fast forward to today, this is where the writing has to be sharp. It has to be genuine. It has to take its time with the punchlines or self-identify to make fun of not just the genre or just tell jokes, but involve the audience to poke fun at us for even liking that stuff in the first place. Involve us! And the movie tries to break the fourth wall numerous times, but the jokes are just okay. Almost not enough to put in the effort of a laugh, but merely a sympathy laugh for the attempt. This is where the frustrating piece of it comes in. What Scary Movie does get right comes at the last 15-20 minute mark, where it shows us what the movie really should have focused on. Nostalgia of humor, not just recreating scenes from other horror movies, but do something with it that's funny and not just show us a lighter tone with it. Nostalgia of humor, not just recreating scenes from other horror movies on a lukewarm comedy aspect, but do something with it that's funny, that's edgy, and not just show us a lighter tone with it. We have to be edgier than the original, especially when it goes to 26 years later. We have seen it all. You have to have smart writing. You have to go all in on the comedy. Don't care about what studios are going to say, because guess what? The studios are the Wayans Brothers here. It was the biggest opportunity to go all in, give the middle finger to Hollywood, and say, we are bringing comedy back. We're going to be edgy, and we are going to attack everybody. We don't get that here, and that's what was funny about the original two movies. And you know, we do get a scene where we spoof K-pop Demon Hunters. That was clever, but again, wasn't laugh out loud funny for how long it goes on. But it does induce the fun factor. Scary Movie does that numerous times. It really edges the audience to really have fun with it, but then it really never reaches a punchline. I think the main problem I have with Scary Movie, besides the writing and the rapid fire of jokes, is the direction by Michael Tids, in which I don't know why he was picked for this film, because he hasn't really made a successful movie, let alone a slapstick spoof movie like A Haunted House 1 and 2, 50 Shades of Black. They were all awful. Not to mention the sequel to Half Baked from a couple years ago that was so unwatchable, I believe I skipped it on the show. If I didn't skip it, I don't remember reviewing it. Now, Tids with the written jokes, they are rapid fire, but he is more concerned about getting through all the jokes, where we even get cutscenes from the jokes that don't even allow a period on the sentence. We just go on to the next one. Tids' problem here with directing these types of films, and it's shown in films past, is he has no concept of comedic timing. It is even more prominent here. A line of a joke is being delivered, and before we can even finish the punchline, he is on to the next thing. At one cut, we don't even get a period onto the punchline. He never allows a joke to just sink in. Instead, we get more time spent with allowing props to do the heavy lifting to get some immature giggles. Oh, look, it's a dildo for the 12th time.
Shit, son.
Now, the Wayans brother departed from the franchise after Scary Movie 2, and they called this a spiritual sequel to at least the first two films. And the Wayans brothers definitely tell some jokes surrounding numbers 3 through 5, including some returning cast members that I will leave out of the review. And in fairness, I don't know if this was a smart move at the time of writing this review, because some of the cameos are from the sequels from 3 to 5, and we spent time with dialogue to explain that they were in those sequels. And honestly, I want to say this was probably needed, because I totally forgot that these cameos appeared in those movies. But at the same time, if I wasn't reminded of it, it wouldn't have made a fuck a difference. But the cameos probably a lot of people are looking forward to that we see in the trailers is Chris Elliott from Scary Movie 2 that appears in the movie for 3 minutes, but honestly, that's probably the biggest paycheck he's gotten in the last decade. We also have Carmen Electra and a couple of other appearances that honestly look to have changed so drastically over the last 26 years, I had to question if it's really them. And that's Sherry O'Terry as Gail Hailstorm, and of course, vacuum-loving Doofy, played by Dave Sheridan.
I said, don't disturb me when I'm cleaning my room!
Now, all the ones I just listed, they are pointless characters. They appear to just appear, with the exception of Doofy, that if you followed the Scream series, you know where this movie's going to go with it. But again, it just feels wasted. Now, the movie follows that of the Scream requel, mixed with a Halloween requel, where we have Sarah, the daughter of Anna Farris' Cindy, played by Olivia Rose Keegan, who does an actual spot-on creepy job of recreating the Farris performance from the original, to the point I thought they de-aged Farris for this movie. Sarah and her friends and boyfriend are stalked by a ghost-faced killer, where the movie just kind of dives in without knowing much and assuming people have seen the foundation of the rebooted Scream films to really connect the dots. But that's fine. This, of course, brings reasons to bring the original cast together that feels wasted, that tackle political humor from both sides, transgender humor, sexual humor, even humor on studios and Hollywood in general. And, you know, I love that. On a level, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the bravery in comedy to make fun of every point of view so everyone can laugh. I love the inclusion of comedy. That's what comedy does when it does it right. Get everyone involved in some sort of laugh. But when the movie misses, this is where we can feel it's not confident in its risque jokes, because it feels like somebody is mumbling a joke or running by you telling the joke hoping nobody heard, to not offend. There's a lack of confidence here of following through with a joke with comedic timing. This is why this movie utilizes a lot of dildos and butt plugs, because everybody can laugh at those in unison. And the written jokes at times we can tell are funny. We can tell wanted to be funny, but again runs into the problem of director Michael Tids' lack of eye for comedic timing. Because under the right direction, the script by Marlon Sean Keenan and Craig Waynes, along with Rick Alvarez, could have been executed with proper direction to give a level of fun factor. But here it just feels lazy up until the last 15 minutes that, again, we see the potential of what this movie could have been. Make this movie like the last 15-20 minutes. But to its credit, the time did fly by, because it did feel like the movie was focused on inserting so many people with rapid-fire jokes that it felt shorter than what it is. Now, I always go back to one of the most memorable scenes of the first two Scary movies, and no, it's not the fire hydrant pump shot. It's the dinner scene banter between the cast and the butler played by Chris Elliott. That is the best example of both films, where the jokes felt well-paced, thought through, and the direction ensures the jokes work and they land. Where Keenan Wayans appreciated the jokes and comedic timing to take his time with it. And when you tell a joke to make an impact, where director Keenan Wayans appreciated the jokes and the comedic timing to understand he needed to take his time with it. And when you tell a joke to make an impact, it works. Here it's just rapid fire jokes and it misses most of the time. Scary Movie was a disappointment, especially with the return of the Wayans at the helm, which I think a lot of viewers going in, including myself, thought this would be the savior of comedy to theaters. It could have brought comedy back to theaters. Too bad the examples made is wave a dildo at the screen for 90 minutes and you will have a hit. And I'm not against waving a dildo at a screen because it is humorous for exactly 30 seconds. And in fairness, I know this movie is going to be a hit in my prediction, but I think it will also have a dramatic drop in weeks 2 and 3 because this movie banked on its marketing of an advertised offensive comedy that are hard to come by in today's times. Even though I can't give a recommendation, I just hope it does do well enough to keep going with this kind of comedy. I just hope who's at the helm the next round has better execution. I'm giving Scary Movie 2 stars.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Now, before we get into the rest of the show, make sure you check out movies that just became available to rent, buy, or stream now.
Now available on video cassette.
Their Fight Our Future in Mortal Kombat 2, which was more memorable than the first film, but that's not saying much to receive 2 stars. Discover the Making of the King, the origin of an icon in Michael that was pop full of energy and leaves us wanting more to receive 3 stars. When billions get stolen, meet the pros who steal it back in Guy Ritchie's In the Gray. And I gotta be honest, this is a first for the show. A movie that was so forgettable, I even forgot to even publish my review of it on the show. But, just so you know, I gave it 2 stars. As an in-the-moment, nothing better to do Guy Ritchie film that just spliced together his other movies. I blink, I twitch, I jump, I click, I whistle, I shout, and I swear it's one of the best films of the year to receive 4 stars. Check in, we've been expecting you, and I wasn't expecting an eerie movie that leaves you in thought in Hokum that received 3 stars. It's down to the wire in Fuse that promises a good time but fizzles out halfway through the movie to receive 2 stars. Their Time Is Now, a cautionary tale in this retelling of Animal Farm, which my cautionary tale is not to ever watch this movie to receive 0 stars. Rank up for all in the execution and Over Your Dead Body that was driven by the fantastic ensemble of great performances to receive 3 stars. The galaxy awaits in this Super Mario sequel that wasn't that super, but rather just an Easter egg sugar rush in the Super Mario Galaxy movie that received 2 stars. What Happened to Katie in a take on The Mummy that made me want to go back to the Tom Cruise battling the Mummy and Lee Cronin's The Mummy that received 2 stars. Small Town, Big Secret that shows that Bob Odenkirk is a breakout, unexpected action star in Normal that taps into 90s fun of action films to receive 3.5 stars. Believe in Hail Mary that I believed was too long. I believed it looked great. I believed it was a good theater experience to receive 3 stars. Don't overlook any anomalies. Based on the video game comes Exit 8 for limited dialogue and based on a video game had a lot to say to receive 3 stars. Witness the Wedding of the Year and witness drama that doesn't stop after the reveal in The Drama that received 3.5 stars. New game, Fresh Blood, Double or Nothing, and Ready or Not 2 that didn't really add anything but subtracted the fun factor to receive 2 stars. Nature Can't Be Silenced in Disney Pixar's Hoppers that taps into all the emotions from heart to thrills for a perfect family adventure to receive 3.5 stars. Let Them Try in an admirable attempt at a survival thriller in They Will Kill You, but added nothing new to the table except moments of entertainment to receive 2.5 stars. Witches in Retail that mixes the craft and Mean Girls, and I was all for the witty dialogue that drove the entertainment factor in Forbidden Fruits that received 3 stars. Everyone deserves a second chance, except Reminders of Him that I never want a reminder of this movie to receive 1.5 stars. Be afraid of the silence because it wants to be heard in undertone. That was an underwhelming paranormal experience to receive 2 stars. Elvis Presley like you've never seen before in epic Elvis Presley in concert. That was a refreshing experience on the king himself, receiving 4 stars. Here comes the motherfucking bride in The Bride that I actually wish had some better fucking things to say to receive 2.5 stars. Meet your new neighbor. He's coming for you. But you will be okay if you just leave the theater or turn it off in Psycho Killer that received 1.5 stars. You're never too small to dream big in the animated film Goat that actually was the goat to receive 3.5 stars. Meet Linda, she's from Strategy and Planning, and she's the boss now in Sam Raimi's Send Help, which I'm glad I didn't need to call for help to receive 3 stars. Dream big, dream bigger in Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie that I knew nothing about, but it's so dumb to be good to receive 3 stars. Flame Meets Fury in Avatar Fire and Ash, that again is one of those movies that's hard not to take to the experience of the visuals, music, and theater experience, but it won't be on my rewatch list. It's enough to give it a marginal 3 stars. Burn it all down, and another entry to the Scream franchise comes Scream 7, which was simplistic, looked fantastic, but we are really running out of villain ideas here, guys. But still a fun time to receive 3 stars. And finally, be with me always, take any form, drive me mad, which defines my review. You had me in the first act, then I asked it to be a different movie, and it ends with driving me mad with frustration and Wuthering Heights that received 2 stars. Now, before we get into the rest of the show, make sure you check out the Cult-Worthy Cinema Podcast and the Movie Wire's crossover show, Back to the Balcony, where Antonio and I cover some of Siskel and Ebert's most interesting, shocking, and entertaining film reviews and discuss if it holds up or if they got it wrong. Back to the Balcony is now available on all podcast listening platforms and YouTube right now. You can find the link to that show in the description of this episode. Now, let's hear from Back to the Balcony now.
Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, 2 titans of cinematic review. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong, but always captivating. Your hosts Antonio of the Cult-Worthy Cinema Podcast and Justin Henson of the Movie Wire are here to take you back to the balcony.
A supermom lands a Shark Tank deal, switching roles with her breadwinner husband. He struggles to adapt as a stay-at-home dad to their 3 daughters. Nate Bargatze stars in The Breadwinner.
Moms have a million things going on. That's why I invented the Starminder.
I really think you might have something. I'm going to give you an offer.
Running a company's a 24/7 job. What about your husband? Could he take care of the kids?
Nate?
Wait a second, is he here?
What? Yes.
Yeah, bring him in. We are moving. We're moving. Yeah.
Here he comes.
What, are you kidding? Are you eating a donut?
No garbage can up there.
You can finish it.
No, it's wrong.
I'm out of here.
I'm out. I'm out.
Your wife is having the moment of her life and you're stuffing your face? You're a bozo.
I thought, are you allowed to talk if you're already out?
Lori thinks I might have something, but are you sure you can handle this?
I'm the top salesman at the dealership. I think I can handle a month alone with the girls. You act like I'm gonna blow the house up.
Bye. Dad, the front door is locked.
There's a window in the back. We'll crawl through that. This isn't the 1950s. Dad stay home all the time.
Oh, this is not gonna go well. Dad, you're going the wrong way.
To your school.
To any of our schools. You don't know where our schools are? I'm gonna come along.
What? No, give me the phone.
No, not. Hi, what's up?
What's going on here?
Your wife had called you to replace your roof.
You're hired.
Really?
I'm going to just make a call.
I called all the top-rated places. I also called this guy because his bid was so low, I thought I could use it against the others. Who did you go with?
One of the real good ones.
Nate Wilcox.
How you doing, Shiva?
Hanging in there. It's a lot of chores. I'll get 2 weeks of t-shirts and 2 weeks of underwear.
What happens after 2 weeks?
We throw all this out and start over.
Hi. I wanted to check and see how you were doing.
Yeah, great.
Sir,
Sorry.
there's a spelling bee.
Really great. The most great. She makes it look so easy, but it's so hard.
This has the potential to change all of our lives.
Trust me, I'm not gonna let your dream die.
Okay, but that's mostly on the horse.
Okay, are we ready?
Oh, no.
It's just a little wax.
Wait, are you filming?
This film needs to get better. I don't know where to fucking start. Let's just start here. First, let me say there are no winners here going to see The Breadwinner. From everyone involved to the poor souls that buy a ticket, even when it hits streaming, where you hit play and decide to hold out for the long haul at an hour and 40 minutes of mind-numbing, stupid, moronic attempt at entertainment. You realize life has passed by. You know, I don't remember the exact saying, but I think there's a saying that for every cigarette you smoke, you lose a minute of your life. The Breadwinner had me tempted on taking up smoking a cigarette for the entire runtime, which in theory would end my life an hour and 40 minutes because I would smoke the fuck out of cigarettes like I was on the Titanic knowing my fate. But even without cigarettes, walking out of The Breadwinner, I felt I did die a little. I felt guilty because this is one of those movies that is more to show off the main comedian on screen than to give the audience something, anything of value to at least have a chuckle during it. There's no entertainment value here. Now, I get it. Past sitcoms tapped into comedians to drive a 30-minute piece of entertainment. Now that sitcoms are a fading breed, so lucky us, we go to movies for their display. And you know, Sebastian Maniscalco did this in 2023's Disastrous About My Father, who even partnered with Robert De Niro. And even with De Niro, Maniscalco put himself in the same position. That literally did the same formula, is take segments of a stand-up and give us situational examples or visuals, if you will, to their stand-up. But the problem is, when doing this, it takes you out of the relatability of the spoken story and gives you a visual to coincide an attempt at pulling together a story, and it just falls flat. When you're telling a joke on stand-up, we kind of put ourselves into those shoes. But when you take something that's kind of out of reach, a top salesman, a nice house, that's what middle America and middle America comedy takes us out of. We can't relate to it because we're not putting ourselves in the same visual. That's why when you put a visual to stand up, it rarely works. Now, it was once said by numerous critics, but Siskel and Ebert said it over and over again. They were prominent with this saying that if nothing happens in the first act, nothing is going to happen. And things do happen here. It introduces the audience to a warning that every single male character is going to be a complete moron with no redeeming qualities. Within the first fucking 15 minutes, we have a guy that is portrayed as not knowing how to even work a fucking toaster, but he knows how to turn on a gas oven, a gas stove to put toast on top of it to burn the shit out of it. Right off the bat, I'm thinking, if a guy can't even turn on a toaster, are we really going to trust him with a gas oven, let alone 3 kids by himself? The biggest problem here is that the dumb dad routine is over. It died a slow death from the 80s to the 90s, where we're in society today, where there are numerous opinions, but coming from experience, myself, I know there are dads that really do step up to the plate and just get shit done on their end. And this movie doesn't help that cause. In our current times, guess what? There are males, there are dads that are really stepping up. They are doing the job. And let me tell you this, they sure know how to use a fucking toaster, because it begs the question of who this movie is really meant for. Unlike Mr. Mom starring Michael Keaton that handled this topic in a way better way, in a bolder way, in a more comedic way, and that was in the 80s, than what we get here fast forward in 2026, where the movie wants to put a focal point on family chaos, and believe me, the surface level topics it brings up is real. But Bargatze, who was a writer on the project here alongside Dan Laguna, is focused on him rather than exploring the situations, we just get rapid-fire situations like he's doing a stand-up telling jokes. Barghezi would have been wise to leave the writing to skilled storytellers because we can tell his writing is mainly there to put him up front and center. And of course he should be. But we need to have a character to relate to find funny, to root for. And it's so over the top in situations and his behavior to take us out of it, where he doesn't do anything right. It can never focus on one element, or it can never give us an in-depth look of his will or his intent to want to do good. The movie wants to focus comedy and heart, like almost a Mrs. Doubtfire to an extent. But we are missing the heart because we're not relating with this guy because he's a complete moron. This movie does have some hints at commentary comedy, and that's kind of inserted alongside with some apparent brand placements. But sadly, even with these hints and the hints at these commentary moments are kind of ruined by the brand insertions. But I hate to say it, but these are the moments that it's at its best. And let me be clear. The comedic moments and the situations with the brand placements, this isn't saying much because the movie really isn't that funny. But one of the more memorable scenes, and again, memorable is a stretch, but it stayed with me versus the rest of the movie, is some fun with shopping with the kids at Walmart, where the song We're Not Gonna Take It is playing in the background. The movie does insert some good little tidbits like this. And when Nick starts to do things his way, this was the most relatable thing for me. And I'm not going to speak on behalf of other fathers out there or even other mothers, and I don't want to get into trouble here. But the movie has a scene where Nick tries to follow somebody else's routine and it just doesn't work. Where Nick creates his own strategy that he knows works for him, and he gets the kids' buy-in on this. This is something that is big messaging to married couples, to single parents, is do what works for you. And I know we all say consistency is what works for kids, but that doesn't mean they can see different types of styles and learn that consistency. But again, the messaging is ruined here by attempting to destroy Nate as a father figure, where nothing he does works, but still ends up a happy ending that makes absolutely no sense. The movie has a great comedic cast with Colin Jost as the stereotypical male that the moms love, Will Forte as the bumbling idiot that helps support the family, even though the character earns no right because he is barely in it. Camille Nanjiani as a competitive car salesman, to even with the Shark Tank cast with the exception of Mark Cuban, with even a bigger role for Lori Grainer, who unlike Kevin O'Leary's surprising performance in Marty Supreme, how do I put it with Lori? Okay, sorry Lori, I'm out. I'm out on your performance and the investment into your movie I'm taking a loss on. The only time I laughed during the film is one of the only reasons I'm giving it a slight pass from a complete, utter failure, is a minor role that makes this movie memorable, who I can predict with his last appearances in movies we will see a lot more of him, and that is with Martin Herlihy, who plays Peter, a DoorDash or Uber driver that again is a support character to the family, who has better lines than what Nate writes for himself with much better delivery. And he will be the savior for what I am about to say. The Breadwinner is an unfunny attempt at trying to make an individual comic relevant with downgrading dads everywhere, just in time for Father's Day. It spends most of its time attempting to put our comedian on a pedestal of unfunny situations surrounding a stand-up that we can tell needed to be more of a sitcom than a movie to truly explore these situations on a seasonal basis. Which makes sense since our director, Eric Appel, treats this as most of his past career in TV sitcoms. With the exception of Weird, the Al Yankovic story, he hasn't had a decent comedy in movie form, but does have some notable funny sitcoms. And this is an absolute insult to comedy, it's an insult to dads, it's an insult to families, and anyone involved into the making of it, and an insult to viewers. But my two key takeaways: I love Peter, and the laundry situation is a real thing. I'm giving the Breadwinner a partial participation trophy at half a star.
Theaters to streaming seems too short, so that can only mean one thing. It's time for the movie Wire Catch.
To sisters embark on an epic quest for revenge, confronting a charged family history that will push them to extraordinary lengths. In His God Is.
Twin. We got a letter from Mama.
I thought she was dead. What she went with us now? Where she been at?
She's on her deathbed. If we don't go now, this might be our last chance to see God.
God.
She made us, didn't she?
Girls, I'm gonna make this real simple. Make your daddy dead. Real dead.
This seemed a little crazy.
Not as crazy as setting your wife on fire in front of your kids, then abandoning them.
We ain't killers. How we gonna live with ourselves if we do this?
This Destiny type shit. You ready?
Yeah.
The lady you took up with after he burnt us up, find her and you'll find him. A lady by the name of Divine.
You're his girl. Oh, hell no.
You in trouble? Chuck Hall's got your back.
Just tell us where he at.
For fear that it would wag, he took my time. We ain't gonna kill him.
We clapping. Tell us where to find him. You're alive? We drumming.
So y'all think y'all just gonna kill him?
Imagine what our lives would look like if he hadn't done it.
Fire burnt his house down. It was born for burning.
I don't wanna hear no Ain't nobody innocent.
I don't want nothing but blood.
Why don't you sit with me? Seems like we got a lot to talk about.
Written and directed by Ella Shea Harris in her first directorial debut and written film, comes a rightfully so angry and actually surprising engaging story about pain, trauma, family betrayal, and the power of the chain of trauma, with absolute clever direction and some clever writing. The movie follows Racine and Anaya, played by Carrie Young and Mallory Johnson, who are twin sisters that faced a horrific incident when they were kids. Whereas kids, they are witness to an abusive relationship with their father called The Man, played by Sterling K. Brown, who set fire to their mother, Ruby, played by Vivica A. Fox, leaving scars internally and externally on their twin daughters. Ruby, who survived but seems to be on her deathbed years later, has one request to her daughters, and that is to find their father wherever he is and kill him for what he has done. Now, the two twins can feel their feelings, and in clever moments we see on-screen subtitles to see their conversational internal thoughts. But the two are completely different people. That is a visual yin and yang, where Ania is scarred on the outside but sees the good of other people on the inside. But Racine, who is physically unscarred, is emotionally scarred internally. And the movie does a great job on the power of internal emotions of trauma that comes across more dangerous than the external scars that one has to be forced to deal with as they grow. Where internal scars, they are hidden things that we tend to overlook, that without outputting in dialogue can multiply into a dangerous conflict. And we see this output especially with Racine, where her personality and her actions give proper examples of this, where our director and writer Harris does a great job in her writing to bring these examples to the surface in almost a bittersweet character study, and makes the viewer think during the runtime to even look and validate our own thoughts, where if we wear scars on the outside to face judgment and ridicule of our looks, the looks we have to look at every single day in the mirror. We have to look at reactions from other people. We have to face judgment on a day-to-day basis, just on how we look. Does it change our perception versus hiding our scars and still have to look at ourselves each and every day and feel emotional weight and pain that nobody else can see physically, especially when we have that internal conflict that's constantly building where not everyone can see? Can we stare at ourselves in the mirror just as well as we stare at ourselves with scars that are exposed? Harris presents a symbolic topic that is both well executed in messaging, but also impactful against all violent images that are appropriately in place, not to overdo it to overshadow the messaging, but just enough to give examples of how internal damage can come to surface if not addressed or, again, looked upon in the mirror and face it. Carrie Young and Mallory Johnson and Racine Anania give outstanding performances here to let the message speak for itself with support from them on their delivery. These are very grounded performances that know they have to be to get the message across. Now, this is a movie about a journey of healing to an extent, where we don't see the man, again here played by Sterling K. Brown, until the end, where it feels like an end boss level or an end boss level to end trauma. And appropriately so, since this is the end of our two main characters' journey to face the root of their trauma, both physical and mental. But what leads up to this confrontation is in its journey that gives hints of generational repeat, where we find out that Brown has had another family, and the messaging of our new family is brought to surface by all the characters introduced. The woulda, coulda, shoulda from his previous wife, Ruby, and or the man's current wife and two sons. We have one son that's selfish and egotistical, and the other son that's the exact opposite, who is curious, smart, and empathetic, and a new wife that we get hints is trying to get out. That I will leave the reveal there, because the movie gives us all the hints and character traits of the father leading up to the final 30 minutes. Each character presents a trait that, again, is generational, that we see a different kind of trait from each son, that the movie kind of hints almost as a mystery to kind of use this as a character study to define what trait each son's going to have, that both traits are going to be in the father. And this goes into another theme of the movie, that where we do get physical abuse, but we get manipulation as well. And manipulation plays a big part in an abusive or toxic relationship. And Harris here, again, is a masterclass of build to take the elements of toxicity in a relationship and give an outcome where if the word enough is enough isn't implemented, where one person's actions or fear of actions can lead to more pain or trauma in the one that's facing all of it, but the subtle generational tradition is being passed down to those that witness it. But we get a balance here that the movie holistically is trying to reach an endpoint, where giving empowerment to give reasons why to stand up and be brave. Now, one of the minor flaws of the movie is that the film can lean heavily with each line of dialogue or situation to get to the message with examples, that we do lose track of build a chemistry of our two main characters, our twins, that are shown to give more than enough time to conversate. But during the second act, we do lose what could have been a deeper conversation into who and what our two main leads are feeling to really solidify the messaging that Harris is trying to land down. That really could have been a bigger impact as we got into the final act, where these two address trauma on the physical and internal level, more specific examples and dialogue. Instead, we just have violence speak for the trauma instead of dialogue. In ways, this does work as an entertainment vehicle to get the messaging across, but Harris, we can tell, is much, much better at a storyteller than this, given what she's presenting. But for her first written and directed film, again, this is a minor nitpick. Is God is an impressive achievement for Harris. It's a gritty look at the dangers of trauma and how to deal with it, and the outcome if it's not dealt with the understanding of the dangers of being brave. It's a true contemporary Western of the mind that just needed some final touches of dialogue inserted to make this truly something of perfection. So for that, I'm giving Is God Is 3.5 stars.
And that's a cut on this week's edition of The Movie Wire. I want to thank you for listening and thank you for your support. You can also show support by following me on Instagram, Blue Sky, X, Thread, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Letterboxd at Movie Wire Show. And please don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you haven't yet checked out the Cult-Worthy Cinema Podcast and the Movie Wire's crossover show, Back to the Balcony, make sure you do. Again, the link of that show will be in the description of this episode. Until next week, do me a favor. Make sure you stay for after the credits to show the respect to those that put their blood, sweat, and tears into making a feature film and support your local movie theaters.
See you next week. Don't forget, stay tuned.
Thank you for bringing me to the movies.
Let the credits roll. We say farewell. Join us next time. We'll have more tales to tell.